everyone, welcome to GameGorgon. My name is Krug.
I'm Jake. And this is where I talk, but it's been so long I keep forgetting. Today we're going to be talking about the APG, the Advanced Player's Guide for Pathfinder 2nd Edition by Paizo. There is a lot of P's in that. Couple of reasons why we want to talk about this. One, we got it before any of you and we got to review it. So, second reason we wanted to talk about this is the most hype I've seen around a book since the release of the book. We're not going to go like super in depth into each individual section.
Not in this video. Yeah.
Yet. We wanted to hear from you. Where do you want us to go through first? Do you want us to go through spells? Do you want us to go through Ancestries? Do you want us to go through the new classes in between builds? For now, we're going to be going over each individual kind of section, maybe picking one specific thing that we like out of each section.
Since this is a review, we should do the spiel, the beginning of the review spiel, which is that Paizo did send us this book for free. Paizo sends us stuff for free. A lot, probably more than they should for the amount of people that watch our videos, but don't tell them that. We personally don't think that is going to affect our conclusion, but we have to tell you up front so that you can make your own decision. And I like to throw this in, even though I guess most people don't really talk about this, but Paizo content has given us a majority of our audience. Potentially, if we say something negative, maybe everybody unsubscribes from our channel. I don't think that's going to happen, and I'm definitely not going to let that prevent me from saying something negative if there's something negative to say. But again, there you go. Now that like 17-minute spiel's out of the way, Section 1, Ancestries and Backgrounds. Lots of cool stuff here. Not only do we have brand new Ancestries and brand new backgrounds.
Backgrounds to me are the least exciting thing out of the entire book.
I think backgrounds is the most homebrewable thing ever.
Yeah, you get two buffs. One of them has to, they all fit the same format.
One of them gives you Finger of Death at level 1, but that's the only weird thing. But we also have something called Versatile Heritages, a heritage that you can take for any ancestry. They're versatile in that respect.
Ancestries, though, two I want to talk about. The Tengu. Spoilers for Court of Corvids. Fizzle, which is a character that the players have not met, is actually a Tengu. I didn't know that they were going to be in this book because I didn't read through spoilers or anything like that. And I made a character that just got released in the game, a Tengu. Yes. I also really love the theme behind the Dampier. I'm a little emo boy, and I like things that are dark and weird. If you had the APG right now and we were starting Court of Corvids, would you have changed Krug to being a different ancestry?
Krug might have been a planar scion.
Interesting.
I don't know I can't be like, because they do seem a little bit hoity-toity to me. The whole idea behind Krug is like the path to perfection, right? I really want that to be his thing. And they seem like they're either really, really quickly walking down that path or are way further along that path than a human would be.
I also want to mention one other one.
Sure.
The fact that the Tiefling is in the book as well.
Tiefling, spelled M-U-T. One other thing to mention is that there are new heritage for core rulebook ancestries in this book, but I think those will probably go over in like big chunks because it's not a lot of content, right? Second section, we're talking about classes. As we all should know at this point, I think, there are 4 new classes in this book. They're the 4 classes that we went over in the beta. They are looking clean. Some of them have some pretty big changes, and we want to talk about those. But there's also just like an unexpected quantity of new class feats for most of the classes. The ones that don't have an unexpected quantity have an expected quantity. And they did some of the things that I was like, oh, this class is missing. Like a perfect example, me, Monk, I have bemoaned the lack of ranged monk options. Like there is one that is a key thing and you shoot like mystical whatever out of your fist. I don't remember what it's called. There's an option 1 for a monk that is good with bows. It's not just, you have proficiency with bows. It is like you can snatch arrows out of the air and then put them in your bow and shoot them back as a reaction. That's so monk flavor, and it makes you pretty cool at bows.
Yeah.
I personally think doesn't step in ranger territory, but then it also adds you can throw shuriken really well, and because of that, you can use shuriken as though they were your melee unarmed strike, but at range. So it's just like,
I like that a lot.
Yeah, isn't that cool? So they just added tons of flexibility to the monk. I feel like monk, I feel like barbarian. I basically feel like all of the martial classes got really nice, like, extended paths or additional paths in their class features.
Sure. I will say with the 4 classes, there was a change that they made that I'm not really happy with, but I understand why they made it.
So.
In the Oracle, how it worked is if you went over the number of curses, right? Because that whole system was like light, medium, and muy caliente curses, right? If you pass the level of curses in which you can handle, and you had to use a focus spell, in the playtest, your character would pass out, would faint for 8 hours, and they could not be woken up.
Right.
And I love that. I love that. I got to use that as a player. As my hands reach out and I cast the spell, I faint and I crumble to the floor. What's happening? What? And I was like, yeah, and you can't wake me for 8 hours. And everyone's like, whoa, and like just like a cool moment. And I really loved that. And they got rid of that mechanic from the Oracle. And I understand why they got rid of it.
It feels good because you made a good call in a very difficult situation to make a good call in, but that's what makes it fun. I'm on your team. Like I'm on your team. They should have kept that class specifically a higher risk class than any other class in any of the books that exist right now. I would have been totally okay with that. That would have been so bold.
Now, the mechanic that they replaced it with is if you use that and you overpass, you don't have any of your domain spells. You can't use any of the spells from your domain, but you can cast spells normally. And I'm like, I think that there is a lot to that would have been really fun and really interesting.
We're waiting for the backpedal in the errata. Thank you very much.
As an adult, I'm going to say fine, but in my home games, I'm going to say, I'm passing out. Now, the next section we're going to go over is the archetypes, and I will tell you, this book is worth just the archetypes.
Yes.
It is worth its cost just for the amount of archetypes. It opens... oh God.
Okay, the archetypes that you intuitively realize that you're getting, which are for the 4 new classes, you're getting 4 new archetypes for those new classes. Cool, that's great, and they're good and nice. I love it. But they're also adding archetypes that are not associated with any specific class that you can just spec into. Like way back in the good old days, we were like, this system's great because they can add archetypes that aren't associated with classes, and that's exactly what they're doing. There's stuff, I'm just reading off the thing right now. Poisoner, Scout, Sentinel, Snare Crafter, Vigilante, Dandy. Oh, one of my favorite ones, Weapon Improviser. There's literally an entire archetype if you want your characters to go down the improvised weapon path. There's so many, I can't even count them right now. There's like, I can put it on the screen, I'm an idiot.
If you were a D&D 3.5 player, you would recognize a lot of these as former prestige classes, which are classes that you had to meet specific prerequisites to then stop leveling as, say, a rogue and go into something else, or from a sorcerer into a dragon disciple, which is an archetype in here, by the way. That's basically what they have done. They have taken a large chunk of what used to be 3.5 / Pathfinder First Edition prestige class kind of things, and have moved them to archetypes. I think that their classes, if they continue to move forward with classes, they're going to be very, very niche and very, very specific to a genre or feeling, versus, like, for example, the improvised weapon. That can be taken by a rogue. That can be taken by a barbarian, a fighter, a monk.
I imagine what their end goal is to provide, like, any given player with the tools to make any given class fantasy a character.
I know we said that we were going to wait till the very end, but I kind of gave it away by saying this book is worth just the archetypes. Guess what? I like the book. It's worth buying the book just for the archetypes.
Yep. I'm 100% on board with that. Okay, now that we've gotten through that big, exciting period, let's talk about feats. These are general / skill feats, and we have, over a period of time, taken issue with the quantity of those things available to choose from. This book does add general feats and skill feats.
I'm not happy with the number of them.
Yeah, I'm not happy with the number of them. Not really happy with them. Some of them. Like, I feel like this is probably the weakest section by far, but it's still there, and you might like them. These might give you options that you feel are missing that you want. For one, I'm not terribly into them.
They felt so nichey. That's not what I was hoping for when I saw that there were going to be a ton of new feats. I agree. This was definitely the weakest section in the book.
There's 13 new general feats. I'm looking at it just to kind of get an idea. And then each new skill has between
not new skill. Each skill has a
not new skill. There are no new skills in this book. Each skill has like between 6 and 1 feats. Most of them have.
By the way, the fact that you went between 6 and 1 instead of 1 and...
I don't know why I've been doing that recently.
No, 6 and 1.
I'm pretty sure I did that on Discord yesterday and you called me out for it then too. Like I said, some of them are great. Some of them are, I don't understand this. So, I mean, if that's something that you're interested in kind of like diving deeper into, I feel like that's going to be one of the ones where we're more critical of the assessment. A lot of these other sections are literally just going to be us gushing over stuff that we really like.
They're there.
Next is spells. I did glance at a handful of spells, and some of them were awesome. There's also new rituals, which I think rituals is one of the most interesting parts of spellcasting because it's like you have to think way ahead of time to use rituals effectively. I feel like spells is the most niche thing that we could possibly go over.
Yeah, I mean, but if that's what you all want, go down in the comments and let us know.
If all of our commenters want spells, by all means, let us know and we'll do it.
I will say, as someone who openly told Jason, why do you hate necromancers? The fact that there are necromancy spells that are closer to what we wanted, I'm with Krug. I haven't spent a ton of time going through each individual spell because there has been so much to go through this book. Whether or not there's enough spells in there to make a full necromancer, if there is, that's the next build video I'm going to be doing. Flat out. I don't care what any of you voted. There are new spells. I always love new spells. Keep adding spells.
Last but not least, items. I don't think have ever talked about items, or at least unique magic items. We've talked about like the way that equipment works. Like we talked about shields, we talked about weapons, stuff like that. I don't think we've ever talked about magic items. I personally, aside from the things that directly affect classes like the alchemist and like maybe traps for ranger and stuff like that, I'm personally of the opinion that magic items, especially unique magic items, are in the book as like balance guidelines and inspiration more than anything else. At least when I GM, I'm not going through the book looking for an item that's going to fit my narrative. I'm just going to make an item that fits my narrative, and I don't care about anything else.
There is a section about oils, potions, and how with cauldrons and how you make them.
I did see new mutagens. I saw new elixirs. I saw new tons of alchemical stuff in there. I'm more than willing to talk about items. I'm more than willing to talk about like items in the book and just like go over them. Maybe that would be better as a live stream, honestly.
Which is something we can also accomplish. We can set up an evening where we can all just, the two of us just sit there and talk about what items are in the book and just start in the item section and just go through it.
Although I would really like for that to happen after I get a way to hold this microphone that isn't just my right arm. Because
I do have extra arms, like desk arm things.
I'll send you 2 SD cards if you send me an extra desk arm thing.
Sold.
Coronavirus bartering.
Awesome. I think that's the end of the book.
That's it. Awesome. There's also a glossary and an index.
If you want us to go over the glossary or the index, go down to the comments and let us know. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, go ahead and give it the thumbs down. That's fine. Both buttons do the same thing for us. It's called interaction. But if you do, I would really appreciate if you let us know why you didn't like the video, because then we can improve and make it a little bit better for, more people.
You have to like the video because it's no longer edited in Premiere. Fuck Adobe.
If you want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on Twitter, and my Twitter handle is @IndigoQT.
And if you want to get in touch with me, I'm @QueueTimes on Twitter, or you can just DM me on Discord. I'm the Krug guy.
Yes, you can join us on our Discord. You can join us on our private Discord, which is an RP Discord where we talk, and not just talk, but we actually play Pathfinder 2nd Edition, post by play, and in live games where we get on Roll20 and voice chat, and we talk about the games, and we actually play with each other. If you want to get a part of that, all you have to do is go over to Patreon and become a Corvid. That's right. I named the $5 section Corvids because Why not?
Play by post, not post by play. Do that whole thing over again. I'm kidding.